towards you, George. Towards you. Come on, Ben, up you get. Come on.
What might look like a scene from a historical film is just another day in training for fighters participating in the sport of Buhurt. Buhurt, a name which comes from the Old French word Buhurt, meaning tournament or joust, is a combat team sport fought in armor and with blunt medieval weapons. The aim is to put all the opposing fighters on the floor, and once a fighter goes to the ground, they are out. Depending on the tournament, fights can range from the classic 5v5 up to larger scale formats such as 30v30. This summer, fighters from all across the UK headed to Hungary to face top fighters from around the world in the bi-yearly Buhurt World Championship, with the hopes to win medals. Daniel George, captain of the Buhurt team, the Northern Wolves, runs the Honour and Arms Club just outside of Manchester and is one of the World Championship organisers.
Hi, well done.
I found the sport in 2014 and got involved in 2017, so yeah, getting on for 8 years now. A lot of people associate it on first look as reenactment until they see us actually fighting with one another, hitting with one another, taking each other down, and that kind of draws people in. That level of violence seems to appeal to people to want to watch. Since COVID, we've had a significant growth in the sport. Pre-COVID, we'd be lucky if we got, say, 5 teams to a tournament. Tournament this last weekend just gone had 14 men's teams and 3 women's teams. So yeah, the sport's grown massively and it's going to continue to grow, hopefully. So I'm a member of the UK team. I've been selected for the UK team 3 times. Only competed at 1 World Championships because COVID cancelled the first one that I was going to go to. So this will be my 2nd time representing the UK. Very excited, yeah. It's going to be an interesting tournament in Hungary, yeah. I think the UK team will do well, yeah. The last World Championships we did in Libusin, we took 2nd and 3rd respectively in the 30s and the 12s. And then one of the 5s teams, White Company, took 2nd in the 5s. So we're hoping to replicate that kind of success again, yeah.
One of the challenges of the sport is the extremely heavy armor worn while fighting. A full set can weigh over 20 kilograms and cost quite a bit too.
Cost-wise, if you were to buy it all brand new, just in one go, maybe 3,000 to 4,000 at the moment, thereabouts. You can do it cheaper, you know, if you're buying pieces second-hand or if people that are upgrading equipment. But yeah, rough ballpark, you'd expect to pay at least kind of 3 for a full kit. If someone was going to buy something first, we'd always advise to buy your soft kit, so that's the padding that sits underneath.
Yeah.
Because most of the measurements for your armour that you would then buy come over the top of the padding.
Yeah.
So the thicker the padding, obviously, the bigger the measurement will be for when you do buy your own armour.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd always tell people to buy that first. The other thing that you can buy without needing padding is a helmet and gauntlets, so head and hands.
Yeah.
That's the thing that we tell people definitely not scrimp on. So if you're going to buy new, buy from a good, manufacturer.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it protects your head and it protects your hands, right? Your livelihood.
George Barrett Haig is one of the Northern Wolves fighters, also representing Team UK at the World Championship.
Why do people like watching it? Well, I mean, the danger, the adrenaline. There's not many sports that have en masse people fighting together and in a real competitive scenario. The historical element, I think, gives people a little bit more imagination and interest with the weapons, how people use them, and the actual use of the weapons. I think that certainly is much more appealing. And people don't see, and with the armour, people don't see each other get hurt as much, which is more appealing for a variety of audiences compared to if you were just in like an MMA ring where you will visibly see someone get their head kicked in. I'm fighting in the 12s and the 30s, so I'm looking forward to having very competitive fights and hopefully coming away with a few wins.
Being a full contact combat sport, participating in Buhurt does come with an injury risk.
The risk is always amplified, especially when it's a World Cup year where everyone's going for it, for places, just in training to get fitter, and then actually in the tournament. So yeah, the risk is there, but compared to most sports, it's pretty much the same. Muscle tears, all of that happens. The most you get is a few bruises there. See, so not an issue.
However, for Rory McDowell, a Team UK fighter based in Scotland, it was indeed an issue, and one that almost jeopardised his spot at the tournament.
I tore my ACL at the first tournament of the season. In our third fight, first round, I was grappling my opposite number. And basically, we both tried to do the exact same throw, which is called an osotogari. We both tried to do an osotogari on each other at the exact same time, basically. And as our feet hit each other, behind each other, that knocked mine sideways. And he was basically in a slightly better position. And then now my foot was wonky, so he was in a better position to do the throw. So his throw worked. But because my foot was sideways, that meant that it couldn't get out, as it were, when he threw me. So as I went over, my leg didn't come with me. So obviously my knee just basically went and popped out like that sideways. And, I knew right away something really bad had happened. I went to physio straight away. 2 days later, I was at the physio. For weeks, basically, we couldn't tell that I'd torn my ACL because my knee strength was still pretty good. And yeah, basically it wasn't until I eventually got an MRI that it came back that it turned out my ACL wasn't just torn, it was ruptured. So the whole thing, was gone. And it was only when I read the report that I was like, because it was like the opening line of it was ACL is grossly abnormal. And I was like, that's not good. Like when I read that, I was like, and like that was really tough to take. Yeah, and then in terms of my assumptions, and these are the assumptions that a lot of people have in terms of ACL injuries, I was like, well, no, I need reconstructive knee surgery. I'm going to be out forever. Went to see the surgeon, and so he sort of did his assessments and stuff on my knee, and obviously had the MRI stuff as well. And yeah, and then he was kind of like, knee surgery is definitely a thing that like people can need, but like you don't need it to recover if you basically like physio and strengthen everything around the knee and make it stronger that way. You can get back to like doing absolutely everything that you could before. Yeah, it's been a lot. Where we've been going with it has changed so much. But sort of finally in a kind of settled position now, I think, relatively speaking, I say. Settled enough that because the events that I'll be fighting at the World Cup are only on one day, comfortable enough that I can go and basically fight at it. If this was a regular tournament, that was coming up, I wouldn't fight at it yet. I would leave it. But because it's this one, because it's the World Championships, because it's the most important one, I'm like, no, like, I'm willing to risk injury for this one more than I would for a domestic tournament. Is kind of how it is. You don't get events like this very often. Also, just like the vibe with Team UK, I think is really good. Having been to all the national trainings and stuff this year, the sort of spirit of Team UK at the minute, it's really, really good. I think our national sort of organization in particular is very like friendly within it. So yeah, that's where we are, just physioing every day basically to try and get it as strong as possible.
Facing injury risk, but with good spirits and high expectations, Team UK headed to Hungary to spend 4 days battling it out on the world stage.